Her latest book is set in San Francisco and partly born out of her homesickness for the Bay Area during a period in her life. Here to discuss the possibilities is author Yael Goldstein-Love. Yael, thank you so much for joining us here today on Live in the Bay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so excited to talk about the possibilities and really where you drew this inspiration from. But first, kind of give our viewers an overall glimpse of what they can find behind the pages of the possibilities.
Yeah, so this is the possibilities. It is a sci-fi thriller, kind of. I always laugh when I say that still, 'cause I'm like, it is, but it's really just the whole sci-fi element is this metaphor for my experience of becoming a new mother, which is such a strange psychological experience. So disorienting and just trippy. And there was no way that I could think of to describe it until I hit on this sci-fi metaphor of thinking, okay, what if I sort of say that at the moment of birth, the laws of nature briefly change so that not only does every possibility exist simultaneously, but they can affect each other. And once I did that, I was like, okay, now I can describe what it was actually like.
That is so incredible, too, just to think that deep about the true meaning behind motherhood and parenthood in and of itself. And is that really what inspired you to write the possibilities?
That is what inspired me to write it. I had a very bad birth. My son almost didn't make it. So he had the cord wrapped tightly around his neck and there was something in his airway. And so for over an hour after he was born, nobody could tell me, had he lived, had he died. So I lay there in the recovery room, just sort of stunned and having no idea if I was in the middle of a tragedy. And I had a bit of a doozy of a postpartum experience as a result of this, where it felt to me like both realities had kind of happened.
Wow.
Like, here I am, I'm home with a cozy newborn, it's all wonderful, and it also seemed like that other reality in which he hadn't made it had come almost too close for comfort. And so I think that that took the normal hypervigilance of new motherhood, which is always present, and it just took it up several notches, so that in the way that, like, you might think, no matter who you are, you might think, oh, my baby's head almost slipped up beneath the bathwater. Oh, he almost fell, off of the changing table. And each of those things seems so real. This made it more acute for me.
Wow, and they can really find some of that story, well, really your story, in the pages of the possibilities, it sounds like.
Yes, exactly. I mean, so the way that the book opens is actually with this birth that sort of could have gone either way, and it is entirely my birth story in those opening pages.
Wow, and the title seems so fitting as well, the possibilities, because so many things can happen. And I'd like to kind of bring it back to that parenthood, that motherhood, especially a first-time mother with such a traumatic birth experience. Really, what would you say the pages of this book kind of paint in terms of that story that needs to be told for so many parents out there?
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge motivation for my writing this book, is that I think that the way that we talk about motherhood, it's expanding somewhat. We're more aware of postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, but still we speak about the experience as something kind of like monolithic, like as though everyone has the same experience, or it fits into these few categories. And I think it's really one of the most complex, deep relationships a person can have. And so, of course, like any complex, deep relationship, it can go any number of ways. Each person has a completely different experience. And so that was something I really wanted to get at in the book, is just the infinite variety of the experience of being a new mother and the intensity. I think that was the other thing, is I think we have this way of speaking about domestic things, especially, motherhood or anything feminine, as though it's small and quiet. And I wanted to write it with this sort of rip through reality largeness, because really there's no life and death stakes quite like trying to keep a new human alive.
That is so true, too. And I'm sure you probably wouldn't really understand unless you yourself are a parent or have had to take care of a new child like that. And I would also like to ask, Yael, when it comes to your background as a psychotherapist, can you tell me how that kind of played a role in your writing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I went back to school in psychotherapy while I was writing this book.
Yeah.
And so it was really playing in to how I was thinking about it. I think I might have written this book only knowing that it was my personal experience I was writing about, except for that I was speaking to all of these other people who were also having similar experiences, and that really helped me see the universality of what I was writing about. And I think that it made me more ambitious in how I tackled the book, actually.
Really? So it kind of influenced even your writing in a way that maybe a lot of people didn't even realize.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Now, when it comes to the book, what are you hoping people take away from this read besides your personal story?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I really want people to take away is just how interesting and intense and worthy of consideration new motherhood really is. I think we have a way of thinking about it as a boring time, or just, you know, nobody really wants to think about it because it's difficult, and I think it is really one of the most interesting things a person can go through. And I think if you yourself are going through it and treat it as interesting and your own unique experience is interesting, it can become such a richer experience and so much better for you and for your children.
Wonderful. And you do have an event coming up.
I do.
This Sunday. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Actually, I have one tonight as well. So I have one tonight at Mrs. Dalloway's in Berkeley at 7 p.m. I'll be in conversation with Lauren Schiller of Inflection Point, and then on Sunday at 4 p.m. At Book Passage in Corte Madera.
So people can kind of, is it a meet and greet? People get to...
Yeah, it'll be like a conversation. Both of them are sort of conversations about the book. There'll be like a very short reading, very short. And then there'll be a meet and greet, and I'll sign books, and yeah.
And I do know that this book really does take place here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I know it's near and dear to you and your son's heart. Tell me why San Francisco specifically?
Yeah, so I mean, it takes place in different parts of the Bay Area, actually.
Yeah.
There are San Francisco parts, there are Berkeley parts. I wrote this book, I started this book during a period of intense homesickness for the Bay Area. I lived here for years in Berkeley, actually in San Francisco and then Berkeley, had my son in Berkeley in Alta Bates Hospital. And then when he was 6 months old, we moved to Washington, D.C. For my partner's work. And I was just intensely homesick, and also just feeling like, again, that disorientation of new motherhood. Things were not going well in that relationship, and I had this one moment where I had to get my son to the pediatrician across town, and I felt like, if I can get him to this new pediatrician on time, I am a good enough mother and everything is okay and I can get through this period. You know what I mean?
Which is true.
Which is true, right?
Yes.
But if I can't, there was the flip side, which I think is not true, I am not.
Yeah.
And I get to the car and everything's feeling fine, and then I realize I have forgotten the car key. And I'm like, no, 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 no. So I wheel him back to our apartment. It's up these steep steps, and I'm like, well, if I take him out of the car seat, not out of the car, out of the stroller, he's gonna start crying. We'll never get there on time. What do I do? What do I do? It seems like this impossible problem. And I pictured for a moment, what if I leave him here for, like, what if I just leave him on the street for 1 second? You know, what if I just do, I run inside, I come back. I didn't do it, but I had that thought. And in that moment, I imagined that I turned around, I turned back, and he's gone. And where he is, I'm terrified, right? And where he is he's back in Berkeley, where I am so desperate for us both to be. And here I am in Washington, D.C., and how do I get to him? How do I help him? And I knew right then that I had begun a new novel, and this was sort of the way to make sense of my experience, and this was my way to write through it. And so it really, I mean, in the book it changes. It's not geographical slippage, it's like between realities, but it is my homesickness for the Bay Area that started this entire book.
Well, just absolutely incredible, the work that you have done, and we're so happy that you're back. So thank you, Yael. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Of course.